that Prince Harry, Meghan Markle and their children could be set to lose their royal titles if and when Prince William becomes...
2/3 of Brits are calling for Harry and Meghan to be stripped of their HRH titles.
Welcome to Royal Daily Report, your trusted source for royal news and updates. You know that quiet feeling when a storm is about to start? That is what Buckingham Palace felt like this morning. But the first loud sound did not come from the royal family. It came from Harry rushing onto a private jet in California, looking like a man who suddenly remembered he left the stove on back in London. And before you ask, no, Meghan was not with him. No happy PR photos, no Netflix cameras, just Harry by himself, hurrying home to face the one thing he spent years trying to escape. Why? Because the palace has now made it official. They are reviewing who is allowed to keep their royal titles. And this time, it is not just empty talk. His name, his children's future, and even those carefully branded Duke and Duchess business cards are all hanging by a royal thread.
6 out of 10 people either wanted them stripped of their titles, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
The countdown has begun, so the only real question left is this. Will Harry fly back to California as a prince, or just as Harry Windsor?
That has been spreading for weeks now, that once he becomes king, across the board, he's going to strip everyone that's not a working member of the royal family of their titles. And really that would be just because it's easier to manage a smaller royal family. And then you can slip in no longer HRH for Harry and Meghan and their children. And it doesn't look so personal if you take everybody out at the same time.
I think the understanding is that when he becomes monarch, they will be formally stripped of the HRH.
And I'm sure Prince William has a lot of support for that from the public.
Absolutely.
So this is where the drama starts to get spicy. Subscribe right now, turn on notifications, and be part of the most informed royal watching community online. Royal Daily Report. Decode the truth. Subscribe now. The palace did not just wake up one morning and say, let's check on Meghan and Harry. No, they started a constitutional review of all honorary titles held by royals who do not work for the monarchy. And you know what that means. It means anyone who made money using royal connections while relaxing in California just got a serious wake-up call, stamped with a royal seal. The press called it a routine review. I call it the monarchy's version of saying, new phone, who is this? And look at the timing. This is happening just days after King Charles held a quiet, closed-door meeting with his top advisors. The topic was streamlining the monarchy. Now, I am not a palace insider, but I have lived long enough to know that streamlining usually means someone is about to be cut off. And yes, every eyebrow in Britain immediately turned toward Meghan and Harry. Even the royal staff did not bother pretending this was subtle. A senior insider told The Times, William believes the monarchy cannot survive if titles are used as branding tools for personal profit. That is basically royal language for Harry, and Meghan should sit down before the crown responds even harder. But the craziest part is this is not about emotions or revenge. This is the monarchy acting neutral while sending the coldest breakup message in English history. And suddenly, all those Duke and Duchess brand deals are starting to look very temporary.
To take down the monarchy, but at the same time elevate themselves for financial gain. And that is also unnecessary to me.
Thought no royal would be able to be stripped of their title. And look what's happened over the last couple of weeks. And you're right, will this impact Harry and Meghan in the future once Prince William becomes king? I guess remain to be seen, but many of us are hoping for that.
So let's talk about Harry, because the second that palace statement came out, the baby boy snapped. According to several insiders, Harry went into full panic mode the moment he saw the words "royal titles under review" appear on the BBC feed. And yes, he was reportedly wearing sweatpants because even rebellious princes do not want to lose their HR and cargo shorts. Insiders say he stormed out of a meeting at their mansion in Montecito, phone in his hand, eyes wide open, like a man who just realized he left his wallet at the bar. Except this time, the wallet is his entire royal identity. He called his father in a panic, demanding that the palace stop this process right away, but the answer he received was pure Buckingham Palace ice. They told him, "His Majesty will speak to you when you arrive." In other words, do not argue from California. Get on a plane if it matters that much. And that is exactly what he did. No Meghan, no Netflix crew, not even a sad side-eye from the kids. Just Harry getting onto a private jet like he is auditioning for the world's saddest reboot of The Crown. Flight trackers spotted him flying alone into Heathrow. No special welcome, no red carpet, just reporters waiting to see how far a fallen prince can fall in 48 hours. The boy who once ran away from the palace to find peace is now crawling back to protect his title. You can almost hear the irony crying quietly in the corner.
To really push aside anyone who's been freeloading or using their titles for commercial gain. And we know the late Queen had said to Meghan, forbade her from using the HRH title. And of course, Meghan's just blithely got ahead and done that.
Thought no royal would be able to be stripped of their title. And look what's happened over the last couple of weeks. And you're right, will this impact Harry and Meghan in the future once Prince William becomes king? I guess remain to be seen, but many of us are hoping for that.
All right, let's look at the proof, because this is not just about a nervous flight and a hurt ego. This is about years of saying, "We just want privacy," followed by Spare, 6 Netflix episodes, Oprah, Spotify, and every other platform that was willing to give them a microphone and a paycheck. Remember when privacy was the reason they gave for leaving royal duties? It is funny how that turned into a full content empire built on the same titles they said were ruining their lives. Harry called Spare his realest truth. I call it the world's most dramatic group chat leak with a publishing deal. And Meghan, Miss I don't know much about the royals, took a simple British introduction and turned it into a 12-part documentary about her suffering. And let's not forget the alleged nearly catastrophic paparazzi car chase in New York. It became a full media circus meant to show how much they are still victims of the system, except now the system is tired and even Hollywood is rolling its eyes. So answer this: why are we acting like two people who left royal life because it was toxic are still cashing checks with those titles printed in gold? You cannot run a victim brand and a VIP brand from the same mansion, can you? That might work in Netflix meetings, but in Buckingham Palace, someone is finally saying, pick a lane. And based on the energy this week, it looks like the lane without the letters HR.
Reportedly furious after it emerged that Meghan Markle is still using her HRH title despite agreeing to drop the title when the Sussexes left royal duty.
Now, let's move over to Meghan, because just when you think she has reached peak eye-roll content, she surprises everyone with a line so dramatic it sounds like she was auditioning for the crown instead of criticizing it. And I am talking about that famous podcast moment. You know, the one where she says, "I didn't grow up knowing much about the royal family." What a bold and confident denial. Because here is what palace staff remember. Meghan reading biographies. Meghan practicing curtsies in front of mirrors. Meghan asking royal insiders questions about Diana's jewelry. This was not some clueless American who walked into Buckingham Palace with a kombucha and a dream. She did her homework. And yet she gets on the microphone, uses that soft and vulnerable voice, and tries to sell the idea that she was just an innocent girl from LA who had no idea what a duchess was. We believed it once, but when that short clip came back this week, people did not just roll their eyes. They replayed it again and again. That moment suddenly became Exhibit A in the hypocrisy folder. And trust me, that folder is very thick. Even worse, that Ellen DeGeneres clip from 2021 is going viral again. Meghan curtsying to a champagne bottle, joking about royal rules like it is a bad improv skit. Cute. Until the headlines hit. Now it looks like mockery from someone who is panicking about her kids losing those same titles. She said titles should not matter. Now she is holding on to them like they are the last Birkin bag on Rodeo Drive.
Americans will understand this. We have medieval times, dinner and tournament. It was like that. Like I curtsied.
So Harry finally lands, and instead of the warm royal welcome he may have imagined on the plane, he is taken straight to Clarence House. No family reunions, no hugs, no Meghan stepping out of a Range Rover in a beige trench coat. Just Harry and a palace that is done pretending. Inside, it was a completely different atmosphere. Sources say the tension was there the moment he walked in. It felt less like a family meeting and more like passive-aggressive energy filling the room. Harry's first move came straight from the panic playbook. He demanded that the title review be stopped immediately. King Charles stayed calm, cool, and did not move an inch. He reportedly told Harry, "This isn't just about you. This is about the future of the crown." Translation: your little memoir did not make you king. Harry reminded his father that he is still a prince, that the public still sees him as Diana's son. King Charles paused and looked him straight in the eye. You can't reject the institution and still profit from its name. That was a full father-son mic drop moment. Then things got even messier. William walked in, unannounced, unbothered, and without a smile. You could feel the cold in the room, and it was not from the palace air conditioning. Harry accused William of being the one pushing Parliament to remove the titles, and that is when everything exploded. William fired back, "You made your choice. You left. You wanted freedom. This is what freedom looks like." We have all seen sibling fights before, but this one felt like Bridgerton mixed with Real Housewives. And when Harry started begging for his children's titles to be protected, let's just say the only kindness shown was the palace allowing him to leave with what little dignity he had left.
As though I was like, "Pleasure to meet you, Your Majesty."
Meanwhile, back in Montecito, the Duchess of I'm so done with the royals suddenly realized that the royals are done with her too. And when I say the mood in that mansion changed, I mean even the scented candles probably stopped burning because of how awkward it got. Several insiders say Meghan was furious that Harry flew without her. She reportedly called her PR team and her lawyers within minutes of the headline appearing in People magazine. The goal was to control the story, which is ironic since she is the main character in a story she keeps losing control of. But here is the twist. This time, Hollywood was not rushing to answer her calls. Even people close to the Sussex circle did not want to touch this situation. Because after all the documentaries, podcasts, leaks, and pity moments, Hollywood is starting to understand one thing. The Meghan and Harry brand does not make money like it used to. Even her usual media allies now have other priorities. After years of forced support, Sussex fatigue has set in, and no carefully written statement can hide the fact that the palace now has lawyers and Parliament on its side. For someone who built an entire story around being silenced, Meghan just received the one thing she never expected: silence.
Not a financial thing. Working royals do not profit. They do not use their names to make money. It's an honour to have an HRH.
Absolutely.
So the fact that she's continued to use this HRH when they...
Once the news came out, the internet did what it does best. It went wild. And honestly, the reactions were like a full buffet. You had diehard royal fans popping champagne on Twitter, Sussex supporters writing threads about how titles do not define them while typing through tears. And the rest of us? Well, we just grabbed popcorn. British tabloids had an absolute field day. One headline in the Daily Mail said, "Rebel Prince returns for his reckoning." The Telegraph called it the Crown's quiet coup. And somewhere in California, Meghan was probably asking why they are always so creative when it is about her. On social media, the reactions were hilarious. In the UK, "Strip the Titles" was trending by lunchtime. People called it long overdue and the consequence of their Hollywood hustle. Meanwhile, in some parts of the US, the hashtag "Leave Harry Alone" tried to trend, but the energy was not there. Interestingly, even some of their former supporters are now shifting. People who defended the Oprah interview are now side-eyeing her podcast comments. Netflix fans are saying the documentary was too curated, and the sympathy tank is running low. It is almost like the world is realizing something. You cannot attack the monarchy on prime time, make money from the drama, and expect the crown not to respond. Even the algorithm has had enough. And just like that, the Meghan and Harry sympathy era is starting to end. And just when the Sussex drama seemed at peak chaos, Buckingham Palace dropped the final blow. A quiet, late-night statement. No dramatic music, no press conference, just a perfectly written reminder from an institution that thrives on subtlety and power. The review of royal titles is moving forward with cooperation from both the Crown and Parliament. No one is exempt from the process. That sentence, that one line, is when everything changed. Because for the first time, the palace was not just hinting. They made it clear that titles are on the chopping block. And yes, by morning, every major UK tabloid ran with the same pulse in their headlines. Royal titles in peril. Harry returns too late. You could almost hear Britain waking up in shock and disbelief. And across the ocean, in Montecito, Meghan reportedly broke down crying to friends. They cannot do that to my children. But honestly, they can. And according to one palace aide, the monarchy does not take revenge, it corrects. How poetic and how devastating. Because this was not just Buckingham Palace removing a title from a website. This was the Crown saying loud and clear, you cannot make money off us, and then claim you are the ones being used. And if that message did not hit Harry and Meghan by now, the palace just turned it into law.
Being instructed not to, I think is absolutely infuriating in Buckingham Palace.
So here we are. Harry is back in London. Meghan is pacing barefoot in Montecito. And those titles they once held onto like lifeboats are suddenly drifting away. And honestly, who saw this coming? Oh, right. Everyone with eyes and a Wi-Fi connection. They wanted freedom. They wanted their truth. They wanted Netflix deals in the morning and royal status by night. But this palace move, this is the quiet kind of justice that does not need a documentary or a podcast to be noticed. It is the monarchy saying, fine, walk away if you want, but you cannot take the crown with you. So the question is not whether Harry will leave London as a prince, it is whether he ever truly understood what being a royal really meant. Stay tuned for part 2 of this story, because something tells me this royal reckoning is just beginning. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel to stay updated.